Guys, welcome back. Many years ago, we looked at I made a video where I talked about image transfer, whereby you transfer an image to a piece of metal, and then you can follow that as your guide when you do engraving. Since then, a lot has changed in the world. Products have been changed, like the formulation for the crystal clear applicator that we were applying it to. Toners have changed in printers. That video is still relevant if you want to go check it out, but only if you can really find those products and they're the same ones. As it happened, I also got rid of my laser printer when I moved here. It was one of those things that just didn't make the cut. We were really packing the truck really tightly, and it just didn't make it. So I had to move on to something else, which is what we're going to do in this video. So let's go over the differences between the old method and the new, and I'll walk you through this new method and some of the tools that you'll need to achieve it. The old method required chemicals, namely Krylon Crystal Clear, which is a clear gloss varnish that critically is resistant to acetone. Not very many materials are actually resistant to acetone, so this is one of those critical things. I found that this spray has become very difficult to find in stock where there are options available. This one just doesn't seem to be in demand. So it's one of those things that I may have to special order if I wanted it at all. Michael's, for example, might carry it if you're lucky, but by and large, I've just found it's not available. The second chemical you'll need is nail polish remover, which is, you can find that anywhere. It's not the hard part about this whole process. Stronger concentrations of acetone are not a benefit in this case. You do want that lower concentration, and it also just happens to smell nice. And lastly is a toner printout from a laser printer. You can print it on whatever size paper you want, but just standard A4 is fine. Now, I don't have any direct experience with this, but apparently not all toner is made equal. From what I've heard, some toners from some companies just simply don't work with this method. I believe you could definitely consider color toner as a no-go. You're going to have to just focus on black and white, which is fine considering this is just a stencil. I can safely claim that Brother toner does really work well. I'll put a link down below to the exact printer that we had. It is very old. I'm sure there have been updates, but all I can really say is that one worked for me at the time. This new method of transfer is ultimately safer. I don't consider nail polish remover and crystal clear to be a terrible chemicals to be exposed to, but obviously just minimize the number of chemicals that you're dealing with on a daily basis as much as you can, just for safety's sake. Instead of crystal clear, we are going to be using something much safer, Mod Podge image transfer, which is just, honestly, it's just some kind of goop that you apply to wood or metal or something, and it helps with the image transfer process. I wasn't 100% sure this stuff was going to work, but I mean, the name gave me all the hope I could ask for. The second thing that we need is this special transfer paper. This is going to work with a special printer. This is coming from Foamimo. I don't have any affiliation with this brand. I don't have anything other than some third-party Google reviews to talk about. This was highly recommended as one of the best transfer or cheap transfer printers for doing tattoo work. And I just followed that because it was a simple, pain-free experience. I also liked that this printer happens to work with Bluetooth. It has, this nice little case. It runs off of a battery. This is pretty much everything you need. You can charge it, of course. If you do run it off of a laptop, then you do have to have a cord going to it, cord here. But for phones or iPads, you can just use Bluetooth and you're off to the races. The sheet of paper is A4 size, but don't feel like that's a limitation, because the app, as I'm about to show you, is very tattoo oriented, as the name of the printer might suggest, where you can actually split up your image over up to 6 to 8 or more sheets of paper. And then if you were applying a full back tattoo or something, then you could have it all laid out individually. So if you're going to be doing a really big project like chasing repousse or I don't know, engraving a fender for a car or something, you could still get away with this setup. We did get a box of 150 sheets of transfer paper for, I think it was $40, which was the best deal quantity wise. It also comes with 10 sheets if you just want to get started with that. I have found that you can run these sheets through the machine more than once. I'm sure they would advise against that. But if you just don't move anything, you won't interfere, and you can run it through as many times as you need to. Within reason. So what we're going to do to get this started is we're going to remove not the first layer, but the second layer of tissue paper, which is just protecting the top one from the transfer material itself. And then we're going to get rid of this yellow one underneath. The tissue paper is just attached, it's just loosely fitted in between. And then this one has a tear line that hopefully I can take off nice and clean. Then I'm going to take this tab and load that on the top of the machine like so, pulling it back so that it's all nice and level and right in between the lines where it wants things. Okay, I'm going to close this and nice and shut. So that's ready to go. Now let's talk about the app. So I'm going to turn it on. It comes up in my phone very quickly. Let me just open this, select a printer, boop, ready to go. I'm going to do this. As you can see, this is all very tattoo oriented. So if you wanted to do this Oni mask with flames and flowers and stuff, you could. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do tattoo editing. Go get more photos. I go up here, and I should have a pile of practice images right there. Done. Bring that up, and this is the size that it's going to be. I designed this specifically on an A4 size Procreate document. Make sure it's all nice and level. It does have nice grid marks, and it'll try to keep you on point from where you should be. Gives you the size. And then I'm just going to go, because I don't want to do anything else. You have other options. We could do like a tattoo preview, but we're going to go here. It walks you through how to set this up, everything we just talked about. Load the printer, okay. And then I just go print. As you can see, it's pretty fast. And there we go. We now have a transfer. I'm going to just lift this up, and that's going to peel the transferred material or transfer material onto where we want it. Let's prep our metal now. So just previously, before we started recording, I went to my shear and I cut these pieces of metal, which are approximately, well, actually they should be exactly, they're 50 millimeter size, and they should be able to just have that square plopped right on top. If it overshoots a little bit, it's not the end of the world. And then I scrubbed them on the buffing machine using a Scotch-Brite wheel to give them that nice brushed look. If you're going to be doing this method on another object, maybe you want to have that as your final finish, and then just engrave over that. So you could do a high polish or a bluing effect or whatever. The engraving hypothetically should be like the last step, because whatever you're engraving, you really only get one shot to do that cut. So by and large, like, you don't polish your engraving, it should just be done after that. So we've got our metal. Let's take one piece. I'm going to put just a drop, one singular drop over that. This doesn't have any fumes or smell or anything to it. I'm just going to spread this evenly across the surface. You could, of course, use a brush or a sponge or whatever you wanted. I'm just doing this for expedience sake. I find that it does self-level pretty well, so you're not leaving like behind these lines or anything too bad. Now, this stuff does take about 2 minutes to fully set up. At this stage, you don't want to put the stencil on fresh when it's like still wet and movable. I'm going to let this set up for 30 seconds, 45 seconds or so, and then I will apply it. I have done some tests with this and like tried putting it on wet, like when it's just fresh. I've also put it on when it was dry, and then tried wetting the paper. It didn't work. I've tried applying the stencil and then putting more of this over top of the stencil to kind of seal it in to prevent smudging. That didn't work either. So far, the best method has just been to allow this to tack up just a little bit, apply the stencil, peel the stencil off, and then let it sit for about 15 minutes or so. It really depends on your environment. It's actually pretty humid today, so I might let it sit for more like 20 minutes to half an hour before I start to actually do some engraving. Definitely don't walk away from this is one of my big recommendations. Just wait with it, because as soon as you step away, go get a cup of water, use the bathroom, whatever, it's going to dry. It'll just gone and it'll be too far. Now you can start to see when I put my finger down, kind of lifts up a little bit with it. So we're starting to dry, and it's not able to smudge around with my finger nearly as well without getting stuck. I'm just going to blow on that one more time, and then we're going to line up these corners, or out of this entire line first. Start at the corner. And we push down. Work out all the air bubbles, but don't press too hard. Like, we're not trying to burnish, which is how we had to do it with the first method. You'd have to really, really vigorously rub and to try to get that laser toner to sink in, so to speak, into the crystal clear. And then you would go ahead with the acetone and dab. With this method, I just want to make sure I have no air bubbles. You can see if you actually go too hard right here, if you go too hard, you can get smudging, because I'm not 100% sure what exactly this stuff is. I have a feeling that this is kind of like related to ballpoint pen ink in a way. I'm sure there's a tattoo artist out there who's much more knowledgeable and could tell me all about it. I am not one of those people as of yet, so I don't know. So once again, don't get this wet. Don't dab this with water or more Mod Podge or anything like that. Just put it on. Let it set for a second. I'm just going to test this corner. Peel that back. If it's not set well enough, you can see that one's just a little bit, not quite there. I think it's perfectly fine for a stencil, but if you have to, you can go back, push back in that area, and then keep peeling. And you want to keep that nice sharp angle. And do take this off before this fully dries. You don't want it to be fully set. At this stage, that looks good enough for me. I'm going to set that aside and move on to my next transfer, which we will of course be showing you how to engrave next. A little bit of a spoiler, I guess. This is the prelude video to an engraving machine that we were sent from Viver. Now, I know that this is kind of a controversial machine. It's kind of funny that Viver makes these tools for less, but in this particular case, the engraver came with a lot of sentiments and feelings and politics and which house do you belong to? Are you in the GRS camp or the Lindsay camp or the NSET camp or the I can't remember the last one. Anyway, if you are a pro engraver, then you probably don't really need to go much further because you already know what your opinion is. This next video is not designed to change opinions. It's just designed to show you what that machine is capable of, so that we don't jump to those conclusions, especially when you're just beginning and you don't really know any better. So that's pretty much it. It's a very simple process, and that's the best type, honestly. Less steps that you have to remember, less things you have to buy. Great. This does not smudge. This transfer goop, it dries perfectly transparent, and when you're actually engraving, it does not smudge. It can be removed much easier than crystal clear, in the sense that if you wanted to go back and scrub it on a Scotch-Brite wheel or soap and water, whatever, you can get rid of it fairly easily, but you don't have to use harsh solvents or anything. But again, unless you're just trying to get rid of it, just swiping your finger over it, rubbing it, whatever, does not smudge it, and it's perfect for what we're doing. So the full cost for this entire setup was about $175 Canadian, and I have enough goop and paper here to last me hundreds, if not more, stencils. I should be perfectly set up for a very long time. By contrast, a new laser printer might be about 230-ish Canadian, depending on which model you get, of course. And then again, I can't verify that that machine will even be able to do this transfer method with the crystal clear and the acetone, as I mentioned before. And then, of course, you still have to get the entire block of paper. The crystal clear is about 25 to 30 bucks per can, and then nail polish is about 5 to 15 bucks, depending on where you go. So overall, you are spending probably double what I spent on this one. And of course, chemical exposure, the method may not work at all. But I mean, if you're going to be using the laser printer for printing out documents and things, then get the most out of your investment. As I mentioned before, Shannon wants to use this for tattooing. If you have more reason to not be doing tattoo stencils and you want to print out documents, then great, get the most out of your investment. I'll put Amazon affiliate links down below for all of the stuff that I got. Again, it's just a general Amazon affiliate program, but I don't know Fimomo, or I don't advocate for them or anything like that. I can just tell you what I know about this particular machine and the short while that I've actually had it. I do like this method. It seems to be working really well. I'll also leave a link to that Brother laser printer that we had as well down below, but it's just for your reference. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that. So what am I going to be doing with these engraving plates? Well, I am going to be trying to sharpen my skills. I go months, maybe even a year plus, without ever really engraving. And it kind of makes me sad. I really do like it. I'd like to incorporate it more into my work because I do feel like the art form is really beautiful. And B, now that our shop is more set up, I would like to entertain the idea of doing classes. I don't claim to be a master of engraving, but I feel like one of the biggest hindrances to entering the engraving space is just having the tools and someone who can show you the very basics. You can pick up a pencil and doodle, but you'd be doodling, in a much more productive way if you had a teacher to show you. So I'm thinking of doing beginner classes where I can walk you through the different types of engraver tool. I can show you how to sharpen a graver, do a transfer, everything that goes along with that at the basic level, just to give you the exposure. And being that pro level engraving tools are incredibly expensive, like just the control unit from a GRS setup is 4,500 Canadian dollars or something like that. And that's without even the other things that make it work, like a handpiece or a block vise, or if you want to go down the microscope route, all of that, you're in 5 figures minimum before you even learn or start to understand that you want to do engraving. I most want to just expose people to the art form to see if it's even something that's for them before they have to commit to a very probably expensive piece of equipment that may or may not just end up on Marketplace with hardly any use or just sitting in the corner. So if that's something you're interested in, leave a comment down below. I'm happy to hear from you guys. Or check out our website where we're going to have more like a newsletter sign up and get involved with what we're offering class-wise. There will be many more things other than engraving as well, like wax carving. We're going to do some intensives. So if you're interested in building a business and you want to learn how to do 3D printing, the entire step, like design a piece, print, cast, finish, everything, then we're going to be trying to put together week-long intensives for that. There's a whole lot of things that we could be doing. And we're really hoping that we can get something like that off the ground this summer because it's beautiful up here. And I'm sure that if you could have a working vacation, it would be just like a great time. Also, specifically check out the class questionnaire, which we will have, again, like all of our links, down in that description below, or you can check it out and find it on our social media platforms. In that questionnaire, it just asks you, what do you want to see? Because then we can start to build and see what people actually want more of. I can't guarantee that I'll tailor it directly to you, but I can at least take that into account when I design my classes. If more people want to learn how to design a piece in CAD versus wax carving, or more people want wax carving versus chain making, then I'll know which direction we should be steering these classes. So as I mentioned before, our next video following up from this transfer one is going to be about that ultra budget Weaver engraving machine. You won't want to miss that because contrary to what all the pros would have you believe, that they're actually like an inhibitor to learning engraving, I'm finding really interesting results. from it. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but of course, we'll get into that in the next video. If you're not willing to wait for that video, check out some of the other videos that actually kind of like started this channel, looking at the Andu engraver. We did one within recent memory, I think it was a year or so ago, where we looked at his version 2, which is greatly tightened up from the first one. I still use it today. It's still a great little machine. Definitely check out that video as well. Now, if you want to get this information before anyone else, consider joining our YouTube membership program for our private Discord. Every once in a while, I'll just plop like a little tidbit of information, ask people, are you guys interested in this particular tool? Do you want to know about it before anyone else? I'll just kind of like, as I'm working through the review process, what do you guys think about this? And I'll bring that into the Discord. We're building quite a big community of people who are just very well-rounded. Everyone seems to have their speciality, and everyone kind of chips in and helps out. If that's for you, definitely check out our membership down here. So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.